Good afternoon, everyone. How are you guys? Welcome to Environmental Coffee House, and I am Sandy Schoelles. I have a good show today, and I do have, it's actually movie afternoon, and I have a short film that I made. It's really about my area, but it kind of actually translates to everywhere in the United States anyway, when you are living in a sports team area. And I don't know, everybody in the United States is crazy about sports, right? So hi, Hans. Thank you, Hans. Hans is very sweet. And Kim, thank you for moderating. And hi, Tony and John Quill and Jarko. And oh, wow, good. We have, and Lorna Ray and Gary Hoover. And this looks rich, Diana. Okay, it looks like we're getting a good group going. It starts out with, well, basically, it has to do with the Buffalo Bills. Hi, Midas, Lisa, and hi, Denny. Oh, this is really good. This is really good. Denny, I'm so sorry you lost your mom. I lost my stepdad, so I understand it. I really do. This has to go, it starts out with kind of like Ralph Nader talking about the governor of New York. Oops, wait a minute. Did I lose the profile? Let me just make sure I got everything right. Well, anyway, talking about, I'll find it. Let me go back to me. Talking about what's happening in New York with the governor. And, I like Kathy Hochul, and she's lovely and all of that good stuff, but she is obviously a little misguided here. So I made a film, and I really hope that you guys are into it, because somebody I follow on Twitter, whose name is Nate McMurray, and he's a progressive from the Buffalo area. He ran for Congress. He did not win because of big money. And big money here won the congressional seats. And, Chris Collins, who was the crooked insider trading congressman, and then he got kicked out. And then Jacobs, another big money guy, won for Congress in that district. He wasn't in my district. And sorry, I'm using my poisonous plastic and my straw that I use over and over and over. I hope you guys are ready for this, because then we're going to come back, and I have some fun stuff I found, even though this topic is tough. And hi, Gary Ballard. Oh, good. Kay Ryan, everybody's joining. I want to start the movie, but I want everybody to watch my film, and I don't want to, wait. I don't know who's on Facebook. I tried to share as much as I could, but it's my area. It's my state, New York. It's a lot of taxpayers' money that's going to fund a new Buffalo Bills stadium in the time we live in. I'm going to let Nate tell you the story, okay? So sit back if you need a drink. Hi, Bev Anderson. All right, great. Bev, if you could share, oh my God, I'd be forever. I don't have enough shares on Facebook, but anyway, I'm going to start the movie. I hope that you all enjoy it. Again, I am on Facebook Live. Yes, I shared this to Facebook Live and not Twitch, because I don't have anybody helping me on Twitch yet. So I can only afford to share to one other group. All right, Field B, everybody. All right, this is great. Thanks, Tony. Thank you, Tony. All right, I'm going to start the movie. Please enjoy this. Sit back. I worked hard on it, and I really, really, it tells a story. And Nate did this. Nate I started talking to him on Twitter. All right, here we go.
Orchard Park, the new stadium, the new home of the Buffalo Bills. More than 600 men and machines labor to complete the new facility in time for the '73 Buffalo Bills football season. A season that will see Plunkett of the Patriots, the Super Bowl champion Miami Dolphins, the contending New York Jets with Namath, and a rebuilding Baltimore club. Just a few of the tough NFL teams the Bills will face. Bob Lustig, vice president and general manager of the Bills, has said the new stadium is the finest facility in the league, with the comfort of the fan being the most important consideration. "80,000 seats, and all with an unobstructed view of the AstroTurf field, no matter where you sit. 6,800 chair-style seats fill the club-level section. The club level also contains 34 private suites, glass-enclosed, climate-controlled, carpeted, paneled, and equipped with color TV. "38 concession stands fill the concourse and will serve a variety of quality food and beverages for the pleasure of the fan. More than 370,000 cubic feet of shale has been removed from the site to bring the playing field 50 feet below ground level. The new stadium rises no more than 60 feet above the horizon. The facilities building, located in the end zone, houses the dressing rooms, administrative offices, the Buffalo Bills Hall of Fame, and the Stadium Club. The Buffalo and suburban fan will find himself minutes from the stadium via access roads like Route 5, Route 20, Mile Strip Road, Abbott Road, and Big Tree Road. Rochester, Erie, and all Western New York fans alike will find the New York Thruway quick and convenient on their way to the spacious parking lots designed to hold more than 15,000 cars and 300 buses. In April 1972, Orchard Park and Erie County officials joined with Ralph Wilson, Jr., owner of the Bills, to break ground for the new stadium. A mild winter and the continuous dedication of the men on the construction teams have brought the stadium to this point of construction. The newest and most modern facility in the National Football League will bring the thrills of professional football to 80,000 fans every Sunday afternoon. Your seat in the stadium is waiting for you. The Bills know that, and they know that you'll like what you see.
So we have news out of Buffalo, New York, where the Pegula family want the Buffalo Bills' new stadium to be 100% paid for by taxpayers. Yes, the Pegulas want $1.5 billion for the new Bills stadium and renovation costs for the arena downtown where the Buffalo Sabres play. And again, this proposal asks for the full cost of the new Bills stadium to be covered by public funds. Now this is something...
I'm the only one who's probably going to say this, and I'll get tons of hate for it, but these are the facts. A multi-billion-dollar company, the NFL and the Buffalo Bills, is going to take $850 million from the taxpayers of New York State to build a stadium. A stadium in Orchard Park, which their own studies say is a bad idea, which the NAACP has said is a bad idea and hurts the city of Buffalo. No one seems to care. Beyond that, there are massive conflicts of interest that no one cares about and no one's talking about because the risk of losing the Bills is too great. Which makes me wonder why we just, what's the limit here? I mean, how much would we have given them if they asked? Let's go right to the story here. So, this is the New York Times. The Buffalo Bills struck a deal for a taxpayer-funded $1.4 billion stadium. New York State officials have reached a deal, Buffalo Bills, to use $850 million. That's a lot of money and taxpayer funds to build a $1.4 billion stadium, the largest taxpayer contribution ever for a pro football facility. Now remember, we are in a Democratic majority state, super majority. And we're supposed to be the party about, the little guy. And we're going to give $850 million in public funds to a family, the Pegulas, that made billions of dollars fracking across the Northeast. It's crazy. And you can spin it any way you want, but it's crazy. And maybe it will hurt me and hurt my political career for saying it, but so be it. Or maybe no one cares. But I think 30 years from now, they will care. So under the deal, the state would finance $600 million in construction cost. Erie County, by the way, which has almost a 14% poverty rate. It's above the national average. We have the worst job market in the country, worse than places like Mississippi or Alabama. We're going to fund $250 million of taxpayer money for a stadium in the suburbs, in the white suburbs, that the NAACP is against, that the Pegula, the owners of the Bills, own reports that's a bad idea. Bad idea for the city, not for them. For them, it's a great deal because they get this facility they control and dominate in the middle of nowhere, cut off from any other competing restaurants or any type of hospitality venue whatsoever. They control it, whole 9 yards. The announcement came after months of secretive backroom deals among Governor Kathy Hochul, county officials, and team owners. Now here we are in Western New York, and because the Bills are so popular, everybody's losing their mind how happy they are. And trust me, they will be out there with glowing, ready to go, happy, shiny, as they cut the ribbon for the stadium in Orchard Park, which is really just an upgraded version of the old stadium they had, which doesn't have a dome, which means we'll never have a Super Bowl in Buffalo. It's not great for concerts. In fact, the old stadium, which is a lot like the new stadium, has only had less than 30 concerts in its entire history. I mean, almost no concerts because it's not a good facility for concerts, most concert venues, unless you're the Rolling Stones or some act like that, which very few acts like that exist today. So you have a facility that is exclusively only a football facility that will be used a dozen times a year, only for the purpose of football and for the enrichment of a family that is already worth billions. Now, let's keep reading here. Let's move forward to the end here, because there's some funny stuff in here. Say you're going to spend $850 million to get. Wait, let me back up. Julie Wood, a spokesman for the governor, said the state portion will be funded through a mix of new and existing capital appropriations. Meanwhile, Kathy Hochul's budget is cutting $800 million, I kid you not, the same figure, from children and family services for New York State. So here we have a supposedly Democratic governor who is again pandering to right-wing policies and pandering to what's popular in the moment rather than having a strategic long-term vision. The subsidy is bound to make the already fraught state budget negotiations even more contentious, with some left-wing Democrats from the downstate region already denouncing the public funding as corporate welfare. Well, of course it's corporate welfare. There's no study that says this kind of funding for these big stadiums helps anybody but the owners. And we've seen it fail over and over again across the country, but Buffalo always seems to be a little bit behind. So we're going to do it again. Every dollar that goes into the stadium will be paid back, said Ron Rakula, the executive vice president of Pegula Sports and Entertainment, which owns the team. How, Ron? How? There's no evidence of that whatsoever. Zero evidence that anything's going to be paid back. But nonetheless, they're going to do it. I could keep going with this, but I won't. I'm just going to go into my own thoughts on it. I'm not even against public funding. But public funding for a facility that only serves this family, well, two families. I used to work for Delaware North. I did not do casino work for them. I worked mostly in the airport field, and a little bit in the sports field, so I know this field pretty well and what they're trying to do. They're trying to create a controlled environment. Now, why do I bring Delaware North up? They operate the Bills Stadium. Yeah, they operate the stadium. They make millions and millions and millions of dollars off the stadium. Now, they might lose that contract, but I doubt it, especially when the general counsel, the top lawyer at Delaware North, is Kathy Hochul, our governor's husband. Now, I know I'm not supposed to talk about this, and every time I do, people say, who cares what her husband does? Well, I care. I mean, it matters. The ethics laws have been written to prevent this type of behavior. And to her saying, well, I'm not going to listen to him, we're not going to talk about this. It's about as credible as Ginny Thomas saying, I'm not going to talk with Clarence Thomas about what's happening on January 6th. These things matter. And here she is giving away a record amount of taxpayer money to a company, to a corporation that is directly benefited from that money. Normalized corruption that's occurring in New York State and our country. Now, I never took a dollar of corporate money. I raised millions of dollars, thankfully, because of you people out there, how kind you were to help support my grassroots campaign. I worked for this company. I didn't take a dollar from them. Kathy Hochul cannot say the same thing. No one from the Jacobs family who owns Delaware North or the Pagulas gave me a dollar. If they did, correct me. Go look at the files. I didn't take any money from them, even when they wanted to give it, nor did I take any money from any corporation, which wasn't easy. It's nearly impossible in modern politics. Not the same for Ms. Hochul, who's taking millions and millions of dollars from corporate entities, including the casino lobby, which is directly connected to Bill Hochul. Hey, in poverty-stricken Buffalo, yes, poverty-stricken because that's what the national census numbers tell us. It has a 13.5% poverty rate, which is far above the national average. They had this multi-million-dollar fundraising event for Donald Trump at Delaware North's headquarters. Again, Bill Hochul is the top lawyer for Delaware North, the husband of our governor. And they're right at the center of this deal for the Bills.
That's where Buffalo Bills and Sabres owner Terry Pegula is back in the fracking business. He now owns a company that drills in Potter County, an area that gets its news from the Buffalo media area, including Two on Your Side. Jim Heaney's extensive research shows the Pegula's company is helping the local economy, but are also regularly cited for environmental violations.
Jim explains in this original report.
Terry Pegula made his fortune by drilling for natural gas in Pennsylvania. He pocketed more than $3 billion when he sold the lion's share of his main company in 2010. He's reinvested a good chunk of that change in Buffalo, buying the Sabres and then the Bills, and building Harbor Center with the help of taxpayer subsidies. When he bought the Sabres in 2011, he made it clear that he was in it for the sport, not the profit.
If I want to make some money, I'll go drill a gas well.
And drill other wells, he has. Pegula started another fracking company, JKLM Energy, and began drilling wells in 2015 in north central Pennsylvania, about 2.5 hours southeast of Buffalo. The fracking company Pegula previously owned was frequently cited for regulatory violations. An analysis by the Pennsylvania Land Trust Association found that his East Resources Management ranked third worst among some 45 drillers cited by inspectors for violations between 2008 and August 2010. Pennsylvania public records show that nothing much has changed with Pegula's new operation. Companies with larger operations were cited for more violations, but a report issued last spring found that JKLM Energy had more violations per active well than any operator in the state. And the second worst offender wasn't even close. The report by Penn Environment, a watchdog group critical of fracking, had this to say about JKLM Energy. The company has had repeated problems properly constructing and operating wells and was cited for polluting water, including groundwater contamination. My own review of state enforcement records found that inspectors cited JKLM Energy for regulatory violations during each of its 20 inspections conducted since 2015. The state has slapped JKLM with more than $500,000 in fines, most of them involving violations at the Reese Hollow drilling site in 2015. State records show the violations included contamination of the drinking water supplies of nearby residents. The drilling site is now abandoned. As a result, Pegula's operation has its share of critics in the Coudersport area. How responsible do you think the company has been?
Not very.
I would sum it up as very irresponsible.
State regulators aren't the only ones keeping an eye on Pegula's operation. Law enforcement agents of the Iroquois Confederacy have been investigating JKLM since December.
We're in the woods. We're in the rivers.
The chief marshal said his team has observed activity by JKLM or subcontractors that he believes represent violations of both state regulations and treaty rights. His marshals are continuing their investigation, and Snow said the Iroquois will consider taking legal action in federal or Native American courts if necessary. What do Pegula or other company officials have to say? Absolutely nothing. Over the past several weeks, I've repeatedly called and emailed a half a dozen people associated with JKLM or Pegula's business ventures here in Buffalo. None were willing to talk. I finally asked the spokesman here in Buffalo for an on-camera interview with Pegula. He never responded to my request.
If you continue your irresponsible behavior with these very dangerous chemicals and threaten the future generations of not only our people, but your own people, we will be there waiting for you.
Well, I hope you liked that and learned from it. Today is the Wednesday Kaffeeklatch, by the way. On Wednesdays, it was at 11 a.m., but I can't get it together to do it at 11 a.m., so it's at 3 p.m. So I just wanted to tell you, actually, this is the Kaffeeklatch. So we start out with, well, a lot of people don't like it. You know, why should we spend in this area? Why should any public and money go to a sports team? This is 2022, and you know this is not. And hi, Mila Reason. There's so many people here. Hi, Jim Bird. There's so many reasons not to do that. So many reasons that we need to invest in the people, in ourselves, in healthcare, just like Nate says. I agree with Nate in everything that he tweets anyway, and he gets a lot of pushback on Twitter. People are just they're just so mean. So I'm going to set up the bottom, and we're going to go to looking at the information that I have for you. And hi, Cliff Curtin. I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, this is great. So the information I have for you started out with Ralph Nader, and he is talking about what's happening in New York. You know, you could say this kind of shit happens everywhere. The NFL is the richest sports franchise, full of billionaire capitalists demanding socialist handouts so they can make even more profit. This is what it is. And my research, holy shit, the things I went through, and you know, I don't dislike Kathy Hochul. She is who she is. I've met her. This is not to diss her personally. It is not. It's the system. It's to diss the system. Our entire system is a problem. And we all know this. I mean, a lot of people that follow this channel understand that we're in late stage capitalism. I mean, we're looking at collapse in every which way possible coming. People don't want to admit that. You know, there's the apocalyptimists who think, we're going to be okay, and that's fine. Whatever floats your boat. I'm not here to tell you that. I'm here to report on this today. So Ralph says, instead of adequately, which is what Nate said, funding children's programs, Hochul is pushing for a massive $850 million state and county subsidy for a $4 billion stadium for the Buffalo Bills. He is the Pagulas. The Pagulas are, they're gross. In my opinion, I particularly don't like them. Terry Pagula isn't exactly the cleanest fracker. And, he's, I feel, arrogant and greedy. They're greedy. He's got, if you have $5.8 billion, you're worth $5.8 billion. You want this in the community? Why can't you spend it? Why do the taxpayers have to spend it? Who the hell cares? And then the governor says 10,000 jobs, and I'm thinking, okay, is she including the shovelers that come to the stadium every year when there's a game after it snows? They pay them, and everybody lines up, gets a shovel, and shovels the stadium out. I wonder if she was including that. But my whole thing is, and then who are these 10,000 employees? Are they from out of state? Because very often the construction field they hire a lot of out of state people. So, of course, I had to give my comment was, it's my state and it's disgusting because the Pagulas are frackers. Billionaire frackers who have destroyed people's lives in Pennsylvania and continue to do so. Not to mention the planet, the atmosphere, basically all for the love of greed. What can you say? And there was a lot of, let's see. Well, since they've ended homelessness in New York, they might as well be entertained. So, and it's not funny. I make light of things. I use sound, truthfully, this whole, we have a thing on our channel called the Environmental Coffeehouse Flush of the Day. And truthfully, this whole stadium, in my opinion, there it goes. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. So there were a lot of, and I posted something else, which, this made my mind go. So I'm going to show you something, guys. And I was doing all kinds of research on this public reporting for New York State last night. And contributions, expenditures, all kinds of stuff. So I went back in today after I did. I'll tell you what, I found out it's all public information. So contributors by contributions by recipient. And I did this yesterday. And now I put in her name and I search exactly what I did yesterday. Nothing found. Why? I did nothing different. Campaign disclosure, contributions by contributor, and I did everything on the left the same way I did it. Contributor name. Oh, wait a minute. Not by contributor, by recipient. Sorry, maybe I am screwing up. No, I did. It's still going to do the same thing. All right. There's other ways you could do this. Office and then state and office. But if I do it this way, it just it doesn't give you the information you want. So, okay. It's not working as it did last night. I don't know. Maybe I'm tired. I worked hard on the video. And the candidate she's a recipient, Kathy Hochul. Sorry, Hochul. I'm using a different keyboard because I can't. Okay, Kathy Hochul. Search. All kinds of contributors. Oh, she's the recipient. Nothing found. See? It's the second time. It's happened now. I can't get to it. I don't know why. I really don't know why. And I have all my notes on this whole thing. I don't know. I'll pull them up after. I saw that Jerry Seinfeld, the actor, I knew it was him, $50,000. There was money from everywhere. And this is how our campaign finance system doesn't work. You know, it's not. I don't think it's cool. No. Okay. So now that we know this doesn't work today, I don't know. So I found the investigative post, which is from Buffalo, and this wasn't even everybody. Some of the donors, and I was thinking, well, again, she's within a political system. She's the corporate candidate. She's within this political system. That's why I'm not so much like I'm criticizing the system that she's in. She and her husband are just beneficiaries of that system. Could she have made different choices? Maybe. But this is who she is. And she raised a lot of money. And I found all of this information last night myself, but not, I even had more. There were people from Florida, and then there were people that donated to her. Hang on, I'm going to see if I can find this. You're all having fun talking. I want to find the document that I wrote with my notes. Okay. So there was, and it was really weird when you look it up. Somebody named Russell White, age 82, from Royal Palm Way in Boca Raton. And it said, when I looked it up, it said the person had like $10,000 on hand or whatever, but gave $69,700 to Kathy. And there was another organization that was associated. So when you give money, you can give it under a lot of different ways. You can give it under a person, which is this, but these people are all associated with separate LLCs when you look them up. Let me see if I can pull this up again. I'll show you. I had they're just my notes. I had notes. Two things are infinite: the universe and you win stupidity. And I'm not sure about the universe. That's Albert Einstein speaking. And then so there were more monetary. All right, that was at Russell White. Unclaimed assets of $10,063. But you see, all these companies are affiliated, and we all know this. They're just affiliated with other companies, and the way the laws have to be changed. Oh, this was hilarious. I don't think I could play this for you, but maybe I will. Maybe I'll find it later, but I want to get through what I have. I brought up. So we look at the donors, and of course, what I wonder is the links. So I'm looking at construction companies, and I'm looking at sources that did and I don't have it because I can't pull it up, that did the study. And then somebody that worked for them donated $50,000, $69,000. And you could see expenditures. It's all public knowledge. And I don't understand why this is not working. No data. No data. I can't be doing this wrong. I did it last night. I mean, I was at quite a lot of stuff. So I'm going to go and move on to an article from Jacobin, which, some people like, some people don't like. But Walter Bragman did his homework. And I'm not going to read the whole article, but he's talking about, when was this from? This was from the end of 2021, right? The end. When did Cuomo resign? In August of 2021? The big thing, when it was the big thing. All right. So, yeah. Steven says it's always the money trail. You're right. Of course it is. So let's see what Jacobin found. They said, I wanted to go down. I'm looking for the money. All right. So she came in to office in late August promising a new era of transparency for New York. I can't see the transparency today. Her predecessor, Cuomo, had been forced out of the governor's office following a series of scandals, one of which included covering up deaths that resulted from his decision to send COVID patients to nursing home at the height of the pandemic. Now, you know what? I still don't have a verdict on that. I don't know. And I live in New York, but I really don't know. In his annual budget, the former governor had inserted a provision. You know what? I'm going to go through this. I don't want to talk about the pandemic. I want to talk about the fund. Okay, here we go. The filings for Hochul's recent impressive fundraising haul are not yet available, which means her donors' backgrounds are still unknown. And I was finding some out last night. Some creepy businesses, people that, I mean, not all I thought 100% ethical in my research, but like everything, I had a million things to do, and I would have to really properly research this entire show. It would have taken me days, not just last night. Days, and then I wanted to put together a video. So, 4 million between 2015 and all right, July 11th. But she got a lot of real estate money, but. Oh yeah, these are so she got 6,000 from 345 Park Avenue, which operates non-residential buildings. I saw a lot of that stuff. I saw big stuff though that they're not including, and I guess because this was written, I was doing it up to date, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Let me see what you guys are talking about before we move on. Yeah. Philanthropy. I'll give a comment. Philanthropy, since its inception and its newest iteration, the nonprofit industrial complex is a grift train bringing the gravity daily for the connected. Well, I worked for nonprofit research institution in New York, but well, we were research anyway. Let's move on, and I'm just going to go over the research. I did. These are just articles. It's mainstream media, but not so mainstream. They're different kinds of little publications, online, and they just tell a story. They tell the story about the Pegulas and all these different firms. Now, this was August 4th, 2020, and it was, I guess, when did the pandemic was going, and these people, they're just, making money. Pegula's latest fracking venture is a risky play in a time of great uncertainty for the oil and gas industry. While assets can likely be bought on the cheap thanks to a mounting wave of bankruptcies, accelerating pressure to keep fossil fuels in the ground, and the economic crisis precipitated by the coronavirus pandemic threaten to render these investments unprofitable, which we've seen are not. Now, I used this graphic in my graphic for the show because it was interesting, and I want to know if you can all see it. It has all of the Pegula's stuff. Now, keep in mind, these people are billionaires. She donated when she first hooked up with him from Houghton College, which is a local, I think it's a Christian college. He met her somehow, and I think she had just graduated. But anyway, doesn't matter. That's not what I'm talking about. Terry Pegula, JKLM Energy. And what I was looking for last night, I got so tired was people's names related to JKLM Energy to see if there were any on the donation list. See, the state must have known I was looking. I mean, it's public. All right. So, related to him is the Lecom Harbor Center, Food and Sport, the Labatt Brew House, Rand Capital Corporation, East Resources Acquisition, which was in another article, I can't even see it. GRMR Oil and Gas Company. Then there's the Sports and Entertainment. And then they have the Sabres. And I used to love hockey with my first husband and my daughter. Sounds like I've been married a lot. No, I'm just my daughter's father. We used to go to Sabres games. And that, I think it's before the Pagulas. Buffalo Bills, Buffalo Bandits, Rochester Americans, Black River Entertainment, AdPro Sports. So they really have a lot of stuff. Maybe they have their money wrapped up. Maybe they don't have liquid cash, but it's hard for me to believe in this day and age that these billionaires don't have liquid money that they could go and put a little more in. I mean, he was threatening. He literally threatened New York. He threatened with going to Austin, and I say, well, then go. But the thing is, ever since I moved to Buffalo, they're crazy about the Buffalo Bills. They just love the Buffalo Bills here. I never even knew football was such a big thing until I moved to this Western New York area in 1993. Holy shit! It was definitely different for me, unless I just wasn't. I didn't pay attention. I still don't pay attention. So he said. He spared. Oh, that's about the team. All right. So this one, basically, they're just doing a lot of things to make even more money. The American way, the American way. Let's just keep on earning, and then they hide their money, I'm sure. And actually, what I'm worried about is the gas prices are going to make fracking even a bigger thing. And if New York does not have a moratorium, I'll be fracked. I live right on Marcellus Shale. I've said that before. All right, so a new fracking venture with an old fracking ally. According to filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission, East Resources Acquisition, this is who I'm interested in, is seeking to raise $300 million from investors in an initial public offering underwritten by Wells Fargo. The company will use the money to identify and acquire long-lived assets with relatively stable decline profits and low fixed costs supported by existing production and cash flow, but that we believe are underperforming their potential. So, it's just more gobbledygook. Let's make money. Another investor is a former Pennsylvania governor, Tom Corbett. He was a Republican who held office from 11 to 15. Oh, gee, what a surprise. What a surprise. The fascist party, huh? All right. Let's move on because I have a lot of stuff. All right, here's one I found from 2018, and here's information I could not verify today. This is a few years later. But Kathy evidently, there was somebody that, again, did some research on her and was looking to see if she had money. And she, they say, okay, we're fully and aggressively committed to a carbon-free, clean energy future. And a review in 2018 said that she and her husband had tens of thousands of dollars personally invested in fossil fuel companies. So if anybody out there that's watching knows, if she's divested. I didn't find it. I would hope she's divested. If she isn't, I hope she does. But, there's other people running, and I don't have the list. We could look it up on the fly, We could look it up on the fly, but she had, back then, what'd they say? She had between 30,000 and 119,000 worth of stocks, which, it's not a ton of money. But that's in 2018. She's the governor. She pals around with Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi is an oligarch. She became a very wealthy woman over her congressional term. She balks at changing the gravy train of investing. So that she had a bunch of these things. I don't know if she does now. So we'd have to look. So it's not fair. I mean, it's a 2018 article, but it just said, I just hope she's divested. And then here's everybody, just like, in the video I made, everybody's bitching about, people are bitching about it. March 29th, that was yesterday, Assemblyman Ron Kim did not hold back Tuesday when asked for his thoughts on the plan to commit the $1.13 billion in public funds to help the billionaire owners of the Buffalo Bills build a new $1.4 billion stadium in Orchard Park, tempering enthusiasm expressed on Monday by Governor Kathy Hochul and other advocates for the project. The Bronx Democrat described the Bills stadium proposal as one giant scam.
Oh, no!
Yeah. Oh, yes. So he says it'll be horrible for New York State. And why do I feel like that? The process of how we got here speaks volume of where we are in the state process itself. The lack of transparency is astounding. As to the assertion from Hochul and others that the deal will keep the Bills in Buffalo for another 30 years. Okay, this is our channel. We don't even know what the climate disruption 30 years will bring. We are not getting off fossil fuels anytime soon, nor does it look like. It doesn't look like it, right? And would it matter? We've talked about things at length as far as the melting of the Antarctic and the Arctic, and you have to see the other videos on this channel. We deal with a lot of science topics. In fact, I don't do a lot of politics, really, unless it's related to something like this, which is fracking, which I hate. All right. So anyway, he says there's no consensus on the plan among his assembly colleagues. And like him, many of them have serious concerns. We've seen these types of last minute tricks in the budget where they try to dominate the narrative and make it seem like it's a done deal no matter what we do. And that's not true. Kim and State Senator Liz Krueger, a Democrat from Manhattan who chairs the state's finance committee, joined a group of economists and representatives from several good government groups for a discussion on Tuesday about stadium subsidies in general and the Bills stadium deal specifically. Like Kim, Krueger expressed frustration with the process so far, saying Hochul's administration has shared few details about this proposal. We can all fight about, the good and the bad of it, and if we all know what the hell is going on, but we don't, and I am just frustrated beyond belief today, she said. Do you think she's a little frustrated beyond belief? Okay, so she said that she has not seen a copy of that so-called term sheet outlining the basic terms of the agreement with the Bills, while Mark Poloncarz is the Erie County executive. I've met him. I met them all. I've been around. Seriously, I'm a volunteer with a lot of stuff, or I was. I try. I don't know why they want me. I'm not reliable. Well, anyway, I do this, but. And Poloncarz, he's another what you call, corporate or neoliberal Democrat. And I don't know what his stand exactly was on the Byron Brown, India Walton scam. That Byron Brown actually, because India Walton won the Democratic primary, he ran as an independent, and he took money from Carl Palladino, that Trump ass-licking toady, creepy, disgusting person in Buffalo. If you know anything about Western New York politics. And then Byron Brown became mayor because they gaslit and scared everybody that India was a socialist. Oh my God, she's going to bring socialism to Buffalo. No, she's going to fucking fix city streets. She was going to attend to the neighborhoods that have been neglected for so long. Byron Brown did some good things? Yes, he did. But guess what? He's a sore loser, and I lost all respect for him. All respect for him. So Kruger does expect that the state's portion of the cost for the stadium construction, $600 million, will be included in her state budget, which is required to be submitted by Friday. So this is probably, I'll further do another one if people are interested. It's my state, it's my county, it's my life, it's where I'm located. So of course I'm interested. But what I'm interested in, you can translate it to where you are. And the same shit happens, and it happens in other countries too. And I know it happens in the UK. Maybe not as much with sports. But then again, I don't know. I haven't looked at that. There's Olympics. Sports are big in other countries. I just don't know if anything's as corrupt as we are. So I haven't even had a chance to ask someone to do the math for me. If we take out $600 million for bonds, how much do we pay back? Economists involved in Tuesday's discussion all agreed that research on public subsidies for sports stadiums over the past 40 years shows they offer little to no return on taxpayer investments in the communities where they are built. And I'd like to see that too. I mean, I like I said, this would have taken me forever to research what has been the turnaround around Ralph Wilson owned the stadium, for example. I know he bought it for like nothing, but inflation changes, or cost of living has raised. The population has grown, even though people say, "Oh, Buffalo's losing population." From 1973 to now, it's grown. So, from 1990 through 2008, he said the public covered about 2/3 of all the money for stadium construction. After 2008, he said that the percentage shifted, with public accounting for nearly 1/3 the total cost and private contributions covering the larger share. The Bills Stadium deal, he said, reverts back to the old standard, which passes on the larger share of total cost to taxpayers. Matheson noted that according to Forbes, the value of the Bills has increased from $1 billion when the team was purchased by owners Kim and Terry Pegula in 2014 to $2.3 billion in 2021. So he sees no reason why the owners of an NFL football team whose investment has gone up by more than $1 billion in the last 7 years can't afford to pay for their own stadium. We don't need the taxpayers to prop up the Buffalo Bills, Matheson said. Dennis Coates, an economist with the University of Maryland and the former president of the North American Association of Sports Economists, agreed. The benefits that accrue largely by to the owners and the players, he said. You put a lot of revenue into the club, and that revenue is shared by the owner and the employees. Coach said he'd like to see more details about the stadium plan because without knowing the specific terms, it's difficult to understand what's being promised in exchange for all the public money. So one area of particular interest to him, lucrative stadium naming rights. Now, since I've been in Buffalo, it was Rich Stadium, Ralph Wilson Stadium, whatever the fuck it is now, sorry. While it has been reported that the team would retain those rights, Coates said it's still not clear whether the Bills would use revenue from the sale of those rights to cover part of its portion of the construction costs. That's another thing about the construction. All the different people that donated have some little tentacle, and I'm not calling it out. I don't know the actual details because I couldn't figure out or finish up with this because it won't let me look. Search contributions by recipient. She's the recipient, right? Oh, boy. Okay, so where am I? Bill Stadium deal blasted by social media over, am I social media? Over steep taxpayer subsidies. So these are sports, little sports outlets online, and talking about this and the same thing, and people talking on Twitter. Oh boy, the Buffalo News read the fine print and found that the full taxpayer price tag for the stadium, including ongoing maintenance, is $1.13 billion. Why can't they maintain their own stadium, the Pagulas? Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. Anyway, let's move on, because I have a lot of stuff to share, and I thought, well, I'm going to share it. Okay, she used money. I told you, I think I had said this, from the Seneca Nation for the Bill Stadium. This was money that they received, the millions it was owed from the Seneca Nation, and this was from gambling casinos. Both entities agreed to negotiate a new casino gaming agreement. Part of that agreement included the nation's release of revenue sharing payments it withheld from the state while the two battled. That was another battle, but that wasn't Kathy Hochul. It was Cuomo. So she announced that the state received the full $564 million it was owed. A large chunk, more than $418, will go to New York State. The remainder will go to counties and cities. She said she would use the state would use its portion on the new Bill Stadium. So the money comes from fracking and gambling, basically. Fracking and gambling. Well, people, they go and they bet on all of this stuff anyway, right? All right, so the Times-Union, which is the Albany newspaper, and how long have I been? Okay, I'm almost an hour, so I'm gonna just make it through. Churchill, Times-Union, Albany, they're saying it's a bad deal and bad policy. I didn't read this one through. I just saw the word giveaway. So that's Albany. That's the Albany. I don't know what their political bent is. I don't know much about him. Like I said, I would have to be doing this for so long. But he says you'll have a tough time convincing me the Pagulas couldn't have reached a little deeper into their endless pockets. Just try convincing a family struggling to pay SUNY tuition or a homeowner battered by taxes that a new Bills stadium is the best use of state money. I'll applaud it. Oh, yeah. All right. And just what in the video from the beginning, I'd be remiss not to mention that the governor's considerable conflict of interest. Her husband is an executive at Delaware North, which has the concessions and retail contract for the existing Bill Stadium, and therefore stands to benefit from construction of a much more lucrative replacement. Now, it doesn't. Well, I read up on somewhere else that the Pagulas might have another choice. So it's not necessarily a shoo-in for that, for him. For Delaware North. It isn't. And here's another outlet. This was NBC Sports talking about this, saying that they're trying to make it look like, there's so much. Bills owners Terry and Kim Pagula will pay the difference. Now they're talking about cost overruns. So here's another little scam in business. When you get your how much this is going to be, how much that's going to be, whatever, cost overruns. It could actually be millions of dollars of cost overruns that unforeseen circumstances, so to speak, in building, which you wouldn't think would be that much. Now, this was, let's look at, this is interesting to see NBC Sports comments from people. It's crazy to think that any NFL owner would ask taxpayers to build their stadium, especially with so many people suffering at this time. It is disgusting. What do you think? It's disgusting. And this is mainstream. So Being in Buffalo, the nay part, I completely disagree. Our first preference was modernizing the old stadium, but when the engineers who donated to her in a roundabout way said it would cost a billion to do so versus 1.4 billion or for a new one, they could add a penny on the sales tax for all we care and have the government pay for it. Just keep the old sight lines. Taxpayers in New York are being fed the shit burger. I'll say it. Make sure the state gives you something to wash it down or you're going to choke. Well, at least they aren't moving the team. And then this person said, that's 850 million too much. So I see that, that there's a lot of people that, and here, okay, I'll read this one. I'm going to end up. I don't understand why public funds a venue for private corporation. It doesn't matter what the pitch is or how many jobs, revenue to the economy a sports team could potentially bring. The end result is a city or state is putting taxpayer dollars toward a venue they will neither own nor control. Shouldn't the number one requirement for owning a sports team be the ability to self-fund and bankroll the entire franchise? This feels tantamount to fractional banking, where a bank only needs to have X percent of funds to cover 100% of deposits. You own a franchise, you bankroll a franchise. Isn't that how every business works? Unless these public funds are a loan, it doesn't make sense at all. Does anyone have data on how much the return of investment the public receives for these near billion-dollar donations? And why aren't their clauses stipulating repayment or equity in the franchise? Sounds like the favorite kid asking for money, if you ask me. I got a whole slew of them. Whole slew, even the Hill, they got in on it. And this was the Buffalo News. Look at the way it looks. There's so much parking. Our channel really is not about this. All this goddamn stuff. It's not. We are about that. All that goddamn stuff is hideous. It's horrible. My God, it's just horrible. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe. Concrete, the concrete jungle. There it is, concrete. If you watch the beginning video I showed, you could see how it looked. It was all farmlands. In 1973 is a big deal. It really was a big deal to do that. All right, so the other stuff I had was really basically on fossil fuels and getting off them. And the advocates are pushing Hochul to include a ban on fossil fuels in the new buildings in her 2022 budget. I haven't gone over it. It's going to come out, and I will look at it. And there was something about saving for a rainy day. She wants to put money aside, which doesn't sound like a bad thing. The lawmakers in New York are saying that it is a rainy day. There was a pandemic. And that's really what I wanted to cover. I'm very happy that I think I covered full spectrum, on something that goes on here that could be extrapolated to go on anywhere, and that we are basically the corporations own everything. We all know this. Nothing I am saying is different from what we've been saying and progressives have been saying for a long time. I'm going to put the video up I made separately, and I'm going to watch the story because it's a human interest story at this point for me. I can't do anything about it. I don't live up in Erie County anymore, which I did. But I'm a taxpayer in New York State, and I'm interested. I also would like to know, I'm going, you know what? I've been an hour. I was going to see if I could pull up the candidates for governor. I know there's other candidates, and I think, wait, see, it's not letting me go in here. Wait a minute. candidates. Candidates for New York governor. All right, we're going to look them up because I have an old brain. I can't always remember. All right, let's see. List of 2022 gubernatorial election. And let's see who's running. Does it say who's running? Oh, I don't know. For governor. Candidates for governor. Oh, all right. All right, I see it. No, this is not. This is not candidates for governor now. I think this is old. What I'm looking at is old. I need to find. It says 2022. Tom Suozzi. Okay. There's Jumaine Williams. Here's the list. Jumaine Williams, who is a New York City public advocate. I'm going to be looking into. Tom Suozzi from Long Island, who I hear is very fiscally responsible. Maybe these are people running. I could just go down a list. Who's declared? So it looks like these people. Former Westchester County Executive Rob Astorino, Lewis County Sheriff Mike Carpinelli, Derek Gibson from Queens, Harry Wilson from Scarsdale, Lee Zeldin, Representative. So there's a bunch of people that are in it. Thing is, I don't want a Republican governor in New York State because I don't really think New York State needs to have fracking brought in, or we really don't need someone like Elise Stepniak. If you've heard of her, she's the Marjorie Taylor Greene of New York State. Lee Stepniak, she's a Trump ass-licking toady as well. We don't need one of those. We want to say the word gay. We don't want to ban books in New York State. At least I don't. So let's hope we could keep at least a lefty. I'd like to see the most progressive person win. So let's research it for New York. Let's research who's the most progressive person, or who, hey, I may end up voting for Kathy. I don't know. Let's see what she does on this deal. I don't want the lesser of two evils. It always seems like we get that. All right, guys, I'm going to bring up your comments and see what's going on. How are you? How are you? Elise is horrible. Yes, Stephen, she really is. She is a horrible human being. All right, let's see. I don't care what color they painted the Titanic chairs. I also don't care who the governor of my state is going to be. Well, that's cool because you're in the long game. I'm in the short game, and I really do like to take an interest in this. It may be, swimming upstream. It may be the Titanic, but I'm still here. I'm still alive, and I don't want fracking. And that's my big issue, really. I don't want fracking in my county. And that's what I guess I'm afraid of. I don't want fracking here. It will destroy the county I live in because I'm on Marcellus Shale. I'm in Allegheny County, and I don't want that. And I think a lot of people feel the same way as I do. So it's been an hour and 9 minutes, and I've really enjoyed the show. I hope you have. I see Stephen Miles, you're passionate about food security and urban environments. I grow food. A lot of us do. And what will happen is that I get pictures from the Environmental Coffee House family, and maybe this year I'll do a better job. I did a show and I showed what everybody was growing in their gardens. I had promised I'd make a video, but like everybody knows, I'm a person that needs 3 of me. So three of me. Hello, BB. All right, guys. So thank you very much. Don't forget, we have our little fundraiser. I'm working on saving towards to be in industrial capitalist society, and to do what I do, I need technology. I'm not apologizing for it. I live within the system we live in. I wish, XR, Extinction Rebellion, they have a New York chapter. I think I'll get in touch with them. And on that note, I'm going to leave you all and say goodbye for today. Peace. Thank you very much, everybody. And I love you.